iHeart Chiropractic, Episode 10. So you said you had a record day yesterday. What led up to that? Is there anything out of the ordinary you've done? Anything you've changed? Anything you've added? Or is it just momentum?
Momentum, I was able to get out. One of my patients owns a gym, and he asked me to do a couple of talks to some of his members.
Okay.
And I did, and it has just created a windfall beyond what I could explain. We've averaged about 3 new patients a day for the last 2.5 months.
Wait.
Yeah.
Hold on a second here.
That's crazy.
One of your patients owns a gym.
Yeah.
They invited you in.
It's like a CrossFit type
It's a CrossFit gym.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, he's actually highly successful and award-winning, accomplished athlete himself.
Yep.
You have a patient invites you into his gym to talk.
To his members.
2.5 months ago?
Oh, I've done 2 talks.
A couple talks.
Yeah, one was about 2.5 months ago. The other one was about a month ago.
And you've been averaging approximately 3 patients a day.
A day.
New patients a day.
Monday,
from that
Wednesday,
gym.
Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 patients, about 10 new patients a week from that relationship.
Just from those 2 talks. If you're a Ferrari, do you think it's a good idea for your body to be tuned up, for your Ferrari to be tuned up, or would you like to race it when it's not tuned up? Yeah, so that's what I do. My job is to make sure that your body is in its best possible alignment the way that God designed you. Your body knows exactly what to do. But for one reason or another, through habits, through traumas, you've caused your body to be out of alignment, which is not allowing your body to function at its best. My job is to put you back into its place and then allow your body's God-given ability to heal itself. Mm-hmm. I always remind my patients that it's you that will heal yourself. I can't heal anybody but myself.
Mm-hmm. You're listening to iHeart Chiropractic with Dr. Stephen Mills, the video and audio podcast series dedicated to serving and uplifting philosophically based, subluxation-based, drug-free chiropractic and the chiropractic lifestyle as a way of living that best supports our bodies by minimizing chemical, emotional, and physical trauma and supporting our body's innate capacity to thrive and flourish. Welcome to iHeart Chiropractic. Hello and welcome to episode 10 of iHeart Chiropractic. I am your host, Dr. Steve Mills. The category for our show today is Purpose-Driven Chiropractic. Now, we're going to be speaking with Dr. Stan Shapiro for our interview today. And what's going to make this episode different as it compares to any episode we've created up until this point is that, like you and me and tens of thousands of chiropractors across the United States and the world, Dr. Shapiro is just a regular chiropractor. He's not a practice management consultant. He has no books, products, or services for chiropractors to subscribe to. Nothing. Bottom line is just a regular chiropractor in the trenches that took very, very difficult roots and a very difficult background and a difficult start in practice, which he'll tell you more about in our interview today, and has made amazing things happen from it. He's a 1999 graduated September 99 from Life East in Marietta, Georgia. Relocated to San Diego in November of 1999, ended up buying a practice right out of the chute. Like, as soon as he got to San Diego, he ended up falling into a situation where he did some covering and some work, and then he ended up purchasing a practice and basically took a lot of hits to the gut. But he is a survivor, and he stuck it out in this practice, made amazing things happen, and has gone on today to own some residential real estate. He's a landlord in the residential sector. He also now has 2 practices in San Diego County that he owns, and at any given time, about 5 tenants between the 2 offices renting from him. So he is somebody that has grit, he's got guts, and he is a survivor and a fighter. And Dr. Shapiro could have rolled over many, many years ago, but he stayed in the game, made great things happen. He'll tell you in this talk today how he did that, the things that made the biggest difference for him that allowed him to forge through the difficult times to make a great life for himself, for his family, and for his patients, and for his colleagues that he works with. So thank you for being here. If you need to reach out to me for any reason at any time, I can be emailed at drmills, M-I-L-L-S, at iHeartChiropractic.com. And enjoy the interview. We will catch up with you again in the post show, so make sure you stick around for that, and we'll see you again soon. Where did you go to college and when did you graduate?
I went to Life University.
Okay.
I graduated in 1999, September of 1999, back in the day when with Sid Williams and a lot of those guys
Yeah.
who are kind of rocking and rolling over there.
Okay, very good.
I think the biggest misconception that we came out of school with is, you get to open up your practice, you start seeing patients, money comes in, you start paying off your student loans, and it's just, you're now a doctor and you feel you're going to live the doctor's lifestyle. And that was my vision. That was how I anticipated it to be. But it's not really that easy, to be honest with you, Steve. It's one of those things where I personally failed a lot more than I've succeeded. My successes now are maybe trying to catch up a little bit to the many failures I have had.
Yeah,
but I will tell you right now that I don't think I'd want to do it any other way.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like through failure is really when you learn.
Yeah.
I personally don't learn that well through success because you don't even realize it's success.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, this is the way it's supposed to be. And only when you fail do you go, oh, crap. So, I got married. I had a ton of debt. I walked out with $119,000 worth of student debt, which supposedly isn't that much compared to today's standards, but it was a lot. I started to defer my payments. Could not do it.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I was living at my brother's before, so I didn't have a monthly rent payment. But there were months that I did not pay myself. There were months that I used one credit card to pay off another credit card. I always paid my bills on time, but I very rarely paid myself on time. And I joined the Master Circle.
Oh, okay.
Who taught me that you should always pay yourself on time, but I was also brought up to say, look, if you took on a debt, then you better pay your debt before you pay yourself.
Yeah.
And Larry Markson used to say, pay yourself first, pay your debtors later. And I'm like, God, that just seems so wrong. That's not, my parents taught me that, if you're going to take it on, then, you're a man of your word and you better pay off your debts. And so I struggled, always paid my debt on time. Very rarely paid myself on time. And then slowly but surely, I'd have some good months. I'd have a good month. I'd pay myself a pretty decent amount. And then I wouldn't pay myself for 2-3 months at a time.
Yeah.
Struggling. Now I have had a wife, had a kid, still, trying to live the dream lifestyle, but I just wasn't seeing enough patients. And again, struggled. And
Do you know why you're struggling? Can you now look back and see what was missing?
I think confidence in my ability to speak the truth.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you that you should act as if, but it's hard to act as if when you don't have it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to go into a report of findings knowing that you had $100,000 sitting in your bank account. But if you know that you don't, and you know that you better get a good report of findings because rent is coming up and you don't have enough to pay it.
Yeah.
And even though you try your best not to think about it, but it's there. And that makes it really, really difficult to just give them the truth without trying to do whatever you had to make sure you close the deal and it was a really nasty feeling, to be honest with you, man. I wanted to be able to give them my optimal care plan, but I was prejudging them. I'd say, Steve just pulled up in a not so nice car. He doesn't have a great job. He needs a lot of care. But you know what? If I give him a recommendation for so much care, he's just going to balk at it and basically like, well, I'm not going to have any of it. Instead of buy a 12 visit plan, instead of buying a 60 visit plan or an 84 visit plan, which is what I thought he may need, I would say, well, Steve, let's start off at 12. And 12 was enough to help me pay the rent.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really the truth. And so, I think things got a little bit easier when a doc came into my office randomly. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to tell you his name.
That's all right.
Who was a chiropractor in a town about 40 minutes north of me. Mm-hmm. And he was very involved in the church, Korean church in my neighborhood where Kearny Mesa is. And he was looking to rent space. And I never even thought about it, to be honest with you.
Wow.
I've always thought, every chiropractor has their own practice, and they don't share space. It's
single doc.
That's kind of the beauty of chiropractic, And when he came in and told me he was looking at it, I thought about it, and he wanted to be there on the days that I wasn't there, which was almost a sign from above.
Yeah.
And I agreed, and that really kind of opened my eyes, really, at the very beginning of, well, hold on, there's opportunities to make money, not just through the chiropractic, but I was paying rent, and I had created this really nice-looking office, but I wasn't using it 7 days a week. I was only using it 3.5 days a week, and but I was paying for it for 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And so when the doc came in and started doing his thing, and I started getting a little extra money from it.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of breathing room. Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit. And one of my fellow friends, Dr. Kyle Gilmore, who I can mention, was in the master circle with me for a long time. He had a practice literally about half a mile away. And he had been in practice almost the exact same time as I have, about 6 months earlier than me. And his lease was up. Now, he was renting a relatively small place, about 600 square feet, around the corner. I had 1,200 square feet. He said, hey, what do you think about me maybe coming in and just paying you rent? And, you have a nice clinic. I'll pay whatever we decide on. And there's plenty of room for another doc, especially because the other doc was working on the days we weren't there. And I agreed to that. And that gave me even more breathing room. And so what happened at that point is, because I had more breathing room, I was able to go in with a confidence to be able to say, Steve, here's what I think you need based on my professional opinion. And I wasn't so worried if you were going to sign up or not, because I knew that I had income coming in.
You'd be okay.
And that's really where everything changed.
Okay.
With my confidence and my ability to give the patient the truth, people started signing up. Which created more income, which gave just kind of an additional stream to what I was doing. And then I had another doc who came to me. I knew him before. His name was Dr. Brian Austin. He had been practicing in several locations before that, and his latest location was relatively close, about 2 miles away. He was renting space from a fellow doc who was looking to move, and he was looking to sell the practice, but Dr. Brian wasn't really interested in starting off, and running a practice again. He just liked the concept of being able to write a check for rent and not deal with all of that other stuff. Yeah. And so because he had a pretty nice sized practice and he was going to bring it over, we negotiated on a rate that I felt comfortable with and he felt comfortable with. And that, again, gave me just even more breathing room. And at this point, I was almost profitable before I saw a patient.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that gave me a ton of breathing room, which in turn gave me the ability to really speak the truth without any worry if this patient's going to take care or not. And that gave me peace of mind. Knowing that I'm telling them exactly what I would tell my own brother, my own mother. I'm not looking at their wallets. I wasn't prejudging them. I was just telling them chiropractically what I felt they needed. And that just kind of made things
helped
a lot
out.
Easier.
My mind is just racing as I hear your story, because there are so many different thoughts, feelings, and opinions on this topic of, you're in that report of findings, you're either affluent, you're doing very, very well, you're completely present, or another chiropractor is behind the 8 ball, they're struggling, they're trying to recommend care, they have bills due.
Right.
I recently heard a chiropractor, I'm sorry I cannot provide the source because it was a quick audio podcast I was listening to. There's a chiropractor that suggested that it's actually unethical to not be financially independent as a chiropractor, because if you're not, there's this tension.
Right.
And an individual with incredible character can do that anyway. They can pull it off.
Right.
But it sounds to me like you went from a vicious cycle to success breeds success.
Right.
The other feeling I'm getting from this story is that heaping debt and heaping overhead on your shoulders as a new chiropractor in some cases, can kind of keep you down.
Sure.
One way to overcome that is just start with a very, very, very low overhead somehow. I know there are certain docs that don't have staff at first. That's one example. Or there are other ways of keeping a low overhead. Size of your place is an impact. The other way, what you did is you took on a nice full-size office and just rented out space,
right,
which offset some of your overhead.
Correct.
So that's a theme I'm seeing here.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, Steve, that if I was graduating chiropractic school knowing what I know now, there is no chance that I would ever open up my own practice just on my own. It doesn't seem like a very smart idea.
Yeah.
Unless, you have a wealthy family that just says, hey, we'll fund you, don't worry about it, we'll do whatever you need. But even still, I think working with other chiropractors that are congruent in your philosophy and don't clash allows you to have camaraderie. We feed each other more spiz and just the ability to get excited about changes that we see, whether it's in our patients or in their patients. Being able to say, hey, doc, take a look at this x-ray. You see what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Being able to have that right away. Or, hey, listen, I saw you adjusting that person that way. Can you show me how you did that? Because that's really cool. Or, and really being able to have a collaboration of chiros working together for the better cause. I think it'd be, I've said this many times now, if I wasn't the one that was renting space out to others, I would be the one renting space from somebody else.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be trying to start my own practice from scratch, meaning, build out a place, unless I had partners that were going to come in and work at it together.
Or even coverage. If you need to take a day off or a half day off, instead of calling a vacation doc,
Absolutely.
which, hey, God bless all you vacation docs because you keep the wheels turning in our profession when we have other things to do. But if you're under the same, a couple of docs under the same roof, you have great coverage.
Great coverage. Patients have a tendency to follow through because they already know you. They've seen these docs there. They're not just showing up and like, okay, who the heck is this guy or girl? They know Dr. Brian. They know Dr. Kyle. Some still want to be adjusted by me, and so we make sure we let them know that, hey, Dr. Stan's going to be out of town, so on and so forth. But I will say, hey, Steve, make sure you go ahead and come on in because Dr. Brian and Kyle are my chiropractors. They're amazing, and more importantly, we've gotten some momentum happening in the changes that we're looking for in your spine, and I would hate for my vacation to spoil your benefit. So I really feel like it's important that you, and I will talk to them about some of the things that I'm doing and some of the things that we don't want to do with you so that you are going to be in good hands. And I'm just going to miss a couple of days.
Okay. So you kind of position them so there's understanding, they're not surprised when possible.
Right.
Okay. Please share with us some influences that have affected you positively as it pertains to success. Could be the mindset of success, could be books that you've read, it could be coaches. You've mentioned the Master Circle. Can you just fire off a few things that you hold dear to your heart as it pertains to positive things that have positively affected you and helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah. Well, I'm not much of a reader, but I'm a pretty good listener.
Okay.
And so I do audible.com.
Okay.
I'm at the gym. I'm going for a walk. I'm driving in my car. I'm always listening to some kind of personal development type of stuff.
Okay.
If it's not sports talk radio, then I'm listening to everything from Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy to Master Circle. I'm listening to CJ Mertz. I'm listening to the Green Books on audio. I do a lot of personal development, just not chiropractic, but just kind of mindset. Positive affirmations. I try to really avoid negativity and especially the news. So, the best way my girlfriend gets me out of bed is by turning on the news. If she turns on the news, I've said, it's time for me to get up. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm a big fan of positive mental attitude. We talk about it through our healthcare classes, that the PMA or the positive mental attitude is one of the spokes in the health wheel. And so, you can have all the chiropractic, all the nutrition you want, but if you're surrounding yourself with negativity and some of the bad things that are happening, it just brings you down. body just doesn't do well with it. And so, yeah, I do a lot of personal development stuff,
Okay.
chiropractic and non-chiropractic stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you had a record day yesterday. What led up to that? Is there anything out of the ordinary you've done? Anything you've changed? Anything you've added? Or is it just momentum?
Momentum, I was able to get out. One of my patients owns a gym, and he asked me to do a couple of talks to some of his members.
Okay.
And I did, and it has just created a windfall beyond what I could explain. We've averaged about 3 new patients a day for the last 2.5 months.
Wait,
Yeah,
hold on a second here.
that's crazy.
One of your patients owns a gym.
Yeah.
They invited
It's
you
like a
in.
CrossFit type
It's a
of gym.
CrossFit gym.
Mhm.
From what I understand, he's actually highly successful and
Yep.
award-winning, accomplished athlete himself.
yep.
So you have a patient invites you into his gym to talk
To his members.
2.5 months ago.
Oh, I've done 2 talks.
A couple talks.
Yeah, one was about 2.5 months ago. The other one was about a month ago.
And you've been averaging approximately 3 patients a day.
A day.
New patients a day
Monday,
from that
Wednesday,
gym.
Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 patients, about 10 new patients a week from that relationship.
Just from those 2 talks.
Can you take us into that gym when you do these talks, Dr. Stan?
Yeah.
And congratulations again.
Thanks.
That's awesome. That's the definition, in my opinion, of what we ought to be doing in our communities.
Right.
Right.
Agreed.
Getting out there, reaching people, reaching their heart, reaching them on a heart level, watching light bulbs turn on,
Right.
getting them in under care, and changing their lives for the better. And that's the definition of it. Is what you're hitting out of the park.
Right.
So
I
big
appreciate it.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Take us, if you will, into the gym. You've been invited by a patient to come talk in their gym. Dr. Stan, you show up. What do you have with you? What do you do? What's your talk about?
Yeah.
Can you just a synopsis?
Yeah, sure. It was really quick. I only had 20 minutes.
20 minutes,
actually.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
because they have classes, they have group classes, and so they had like a little bit of a break between classes. I showed up at 6:05. The next class started at 6:30. So I ended my job, my clinic, at 6 o'clock. It's literally about 1,000 yards down the street. I grabbed a portable table and I grabbed a spine,
Okay.
and that's all I grabbed.
Okay.
And I set up my portable table. They sat around me in a circle. I asked who has ever had a chiropractic experience. What do they know about chiropractic? Some hands went up. Tell me what you think. Neck pain, back pain, headaches, car accidents, so on and so forth. I simply took out a spine. I kind of gave them a quick synopsis of what chiropractic's about. They simply take the spine out. Said 24 movable bones.
Okay.
Occiput sits right on top. That's where the brain sits. Goes brain, spinal cord. All the nerves exit from the spinal cord. They perceive information. It reaches back through the spine to the brain. That's the way the body communicates. When the spine shifts out of its proper alignment, bad things happen. What I tell people, and this is something I use often, is I tell people, you are a Ferrari and I am a mechanic. You are here in this gym, you guys are racing your Ferraris to the extreme because it's a very intense gym. They're really pushing themselves hard. And I said, Steve, if you're a Ferrari, do you think it's a good idea for your body to be tuned up, for your Ferrari to be tuned up, or would you like to race it when it's not tuned up? Yeah, so that's what I do. My job is to make sure that your body is in its best possible alignment the way that God designed you. Your body knows exactly what to do. But for one reason or another, through habits, through traumas, you've caused your body to be out of alignment, which is not allowing your body to function at its best. My job is to put you back into its place and then allow your body's God-given ability to heal itself. Mm-hmm. I always remind my patients that it's you that will heal yourself. I can't heal anybody but myself. Mm-hmm. So it was a very quick talk. I did some applied kinesiology. I took some volunteers. I had them go face down. I showed them leg lengths. Everybody sees, wow, look what's happening. I have them turn their head to one way or another. I see some correction. We do some applied kinesiology, some muscle testing.
Okay.
They see it. They feel it. They say, okay, how do we get checked?
Wow.
I mean, it was literally that simple.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I like to minimize the amount of talking I do. Especially during that, I just kind of want to do a Socratic method, and explain to them how the body works in a very simple way. By the way, I find I've heard so many reports, I've heard so many definitions of, the initial consultations, and I personally think it's overload. I think it's overload. I think the drip system is so much better, especially when somebody comes in pain. I know when I go, when I'm in pain, my tension level is about this much. I'm just really concerned about feeling better initially. And so I want to let them know, I understand you're not feeling good. We're going to talk a lot more about other things, but right now my goal is to get you feeling better. Your body's out of alignment based on some of the things I've done. We're going to take some x-rays to confirm. We're going to put you back into alignment. We'll see how your body responds to that. Based on that, I'll be able to tell you what kind of care you're going to need to truly fix this problem.
Okay.
We offer corrective care, is something that we highly recommend, but we do offer relief care if somebody is interested in simply relief. I think it's my job to give them the choice, but I also need to let them know what the benefit of corrective care is.
Okay.
And what some of the downsides of relief care are. You know.
So on an average, what type of care program are you recommending to your new patients on an average?
Yeah, I mean, it's always in the form of correction initially, and then maintenance to be followed. And we explain that to them. I tell them chiropractic is a lifestyle, and so the first 6 months to a year, our job is just to make some changes in their spines, especially by the time they come to see me, they do need changes. We take x-rays, we see what's wrong, we take a look and see how long they've been out of place to see if there's any degenerative changes that have occurred. And based on that, if there are things that really need a lot of attention, I have no problems recommending an aggressive 3 times a week for 90 days.
Okay.
You know, bringing it down to once or twice a week for another 90 days.
Okay.
Getting them down to once a week and then eventually getting them to every other week. I've never recommended any less than that.
Okay.
I think I've been under chiropractic care for 23 years, and I get checked at least once a week. So for somebody who's never been to a chiropractor, I need at least 52 visits myself. So how many visits does somebody need that's never seen a chiropractor and is 40-something years old? More.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, that's pretty simple. I also see a lot of chiropractors that I've talked to who I say, well, how often are you getting checked? Well, I don't know, once every 3 weeks, sometimes once every month and a half. I'm like, well, then how can you possibly recommend once a week or every other week?
Yeah.
So, listen, this is my philosophy of chiropractic. It doesn't have to be theirs. I know plenty of docs who say, I just want to adjust people when they want to get adjusted. Great. Amen to you.
Yeah.
It's not my job to tell you what chiropractic is to you. The way I was taught, the way I see it, the way I live my lifestyle, my daughter's lifestyle, my girlfriend's lifestyle. I check my daughter once a week. She was adjusted while the umbilical cord was still attached. But we had it in a birthing center. It was a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Daughter's never had a vaccination. Daughter's never taken an Advil. So these are things that I pride myself on, and we try our best to live that lifestyle.
I see. So say you're in your office, we're about to provide a report of findings. You have a new patient in front of you who you really feel you could help. They have issues. You've found some of the causes. What are some of the objections or the hurdles that you hear from patients that are preventing them from getting care?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's obviously a little different. Time and money, those are usually the two major culprits. I can't help them with either one, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We can make things pretty efficient. So the time part I can do, we spend an average of 2 to 3 minutes with the patient. If I've done a good enough job of explaining to them what my job is and what we need to do and how we're going to do it, I think it's pretty easy to finish somebody in 2 to 3 minutes. I don't think it has to be a 20-minute visit.
Yeah.
The money part is, that's something obviously I can't help. I mean, it's expensive to live in San Diego, and we see a lot of that. I see a lot of military people. We have military discounts. But what I usually do, and the reason why we do these prolonged or these expanded care plans is so that we can break the visits into monthly payments. So I can do a 60-visit care plan, but divide it into 12 payments.
I see.
And it makes it a little bit easier to swallow, because if they were paying per visit, and if I'm seeing them initially at 3 times a week,
I see.
And so in the first month I'll see them 12 times, and they're paying $50 a visit, that's a lot of money in the first month.
I see.
But by the time they're on month 9, 10, 11, 12, and I'm seeing them every other week, it's only 2 visits a month. So that's easy to pay for. But that initial part they can't do because it's $600 a month.
Yeah.
So if we take all of those visits and then amortize it through
evenly,
12 months, they're paying the exact same amount now that they're getting 12 visits, so they will be paying when they're getting 2 visits, but the total is still the same. And so it makes it a little bit easier for patients to swallow. Larry Markson told me one thing. He said, if you can't afford your own care, then it's not the right price.
Wow.
So whatever your price is, you should feel like you should be able to afford it. Because if your recommendations are at $60 a visit and there's no way you could afford that, then your prices are too high.
Okay.
And if you're so low that you feel like, man, I'm giving this stuff away, then your prices are too low.
I see.
You should 100% be satisfied with the prices that you are charging.
Yeah.
If you are not internally satisfied and feel like you're either getting screwed or you're screwing somebody else, that's incongruency
I see.
in my mind.
It goes back to your mindset and how you'll be able to be present.
You've
and
got to be able to
committed,
yeah.
dedicated.
Yeah. So I feel
Yeah.
like you have to put yourself in that position and say, would I be able to do this?
Okay.
If I can, then you can.
So, Doc, I want to get you talking here.
Okay.
You have somebody under care.
Yeah.
They're 5, 6, 7 visits into a corrective care plan.
Right.
They're missing visits.
Right.
They come back. You might see them 7, 10 days later. They show up.
Right.
Dr. Stan, what do you say? What would you say to a person who's not following through, not showing up, and that could affect the results?
Sure.
What would you say to a patient like that in that situation?
I like I said, I'm kind of straight to the point, very simple. And I said, Steve, the only way I can help you is if you're here.
Okay.
Initially you told me that you wanted to make some corrections, and we signed up for a program, and I want to make sure that you get the best possible results. But the truth is, I can't help you unless you're here. So you need to find out and take a look and see how important this is to you. This may not be the right time for you to go through a corrective plan.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? And I put it back on them.
I see.
I just say, listen, are you committed? And if you're not, then that's okay. Because and I do tell them this when I first do my report of findings. I will tell them that there are 2 things that I'm very concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
Their results and my reputation.
Okay.
So I flat out tell them at the beginning that unless you're ready to do this, I don't want you to do this. Because if you don't follow through and you're not going to get the results, what I don't like is you're going to have lunch with a friend and you're going to say, yeah, I tried chiropractic. It didn't work. And you're not going to tell them that you didn't show up when you should have showed up. You're just going to say you didn't try chiropractic. And to me, the chiropractic didn't work. And that to me is blasphemy as far as I'm concerned. You know what? Because you're speaking badly about my profession. And more importantly, you're not speaking truthfully about it. Because I know this. If you do what I tell you to do, you'll get the results. I know that. I've been in practice long enough. I've seen enough miracles, and I don't even consider them miracles, to be honest with you, because I think it's very repeatable.
Mm-hmm.
You do what I tell. If I tell you what to do and you follow through, I know you're going to get better.
Yeah.
That part's easy. The hard part, and I tell them this. I said the hard part, Steve, is that once you start feeling better, to stay committed to your care.
Yeah.
Because once you start feeling better, you start saying, well, I'm feeling good today. I'm going to miss today. I'll hit them next week. Mm-hmm. The problem is a lot of the structures that we're trying to stabilize aren't quite stabilized, and we're starting to really lose tractioning. And so I tell them that. I said, you're going to start feeling better way before a lot of this stuff is going to be starting to truly heal up. I need you to stay committed, And I'll just call them out on it.
Have you ever had patients that try and have you ever had a patient that tries to talk you down on your pricing, that tries to bargain, or wheel and deal, or
Sure.
have you ever had that experience?
Obviously I have people, listen, we have some patients who I know are struggling. Again, it is expensive to live in San Diego.
Yeah.
There's a bottom line. What I'll do, sometimes I'll say, listen, obviously you're not ready for a corrective plan, but I know you're hurting. Why don't we just get a smaller plan to get some relief for you?
I see.
This may not be the right time for you to go all in, but I know you're hurting, so we need to do something.
Yeah.
And I say, listen, if you're not going to give yourself the time to heal, God will give you will give you a vacation. So you need to take the time to do it. But no, I don't lower my prices because of that. I'll just reduce my care plan.
Okay, so just change the care plan.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for students? You were at Life, which is an amazing institution.
Yeah.
Go back to the time when you were a student. Is there anything you would have done differently, or that you did do that you would recommend others consider?
Well, one of my things that I think really helped me out is I lived with 5 other chiropractic students.
Nice.
Yeah, we all got together and we rented a really huge house instead of all of us having 1-bedroom apartments.
Yeah.
And so we were chiropractic dorks. Besides practicing on each other on our portable table that sat in our dining room, we talked chiropractic. We talked physiology. We studied together. We were in love with chiropractic, and I was a physiology dork. I would love to read physiology books, you know, because once I recognized what I loved and this is it, this is what I want to do, my something just lit up inside of me, and I just wanted to read up on it. I thought the body was amazing. I thought, by God, you know, if everybody knew how awesome this stinking body was and how awesome it is, and it doesn't need any help. It just needs no interference.
Yeah.
And we interfere with it a lot. But once you understand how the anatomy and physiology work, I think you'd be a fool not to say, yes, I want some of that.
Yeah.
Right? Who doesn't want to feel better? Who doesn't want to function better? So the very simple question, I'll leave you this, is I ask this to all my patients before, and any time. I said, do you think your body works better or worse when it is out of its proper alignment?
Worse.
I can help.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally that simple. Now, I don't get into biochemistry with them and how many ATPs are created with the mitochondria. No, I don't deal with that. It's not my passion. I'm very simple, man. I know your body works better when I can put it into its best possible alignment. I'm going to talk a little bit about ergonomic changes. I'm going to talk a little bit about nutrition and making sure you're not poisoning yourself. You're hydrating and you're doing some of the things that are easy, right? And then the rest, you don't have to even think about.
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple. So I tell people, who do you think could benefit from chiropractic? And that's how I get my referrals.
Doc, do you have any recommendations for people from a financial perspective? Are there any books that you've read on finance and money? Any financial consultants? I've heard of the name Garrett Gunderson. Some people work with him. Because I know you manage some real estate. I mean,
Right.
you're doing you have a couple offices. You have real estate
Right.
that you own. You have a variety of things going on.
Right.
How did you position yourself to manage your finances? Just on your own, just picked up a couple.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Steve, it's just through mistakes, man. Through mistakes. I overpaid for a condo and tried to refinance it. Bought a house. At the top of the market, then the bottom falls out of it. I filed for foreclosure on it. So I was one of the ones. I mean, this is life. And I got myself into credit card debt. All of these things that are, again, painful, experiences. But man, I tell you what, I'll never get myself into credit card debt again because I understand the benefits of it.
Yeah.
I understand the benefit of managing, making sure that you know what you're doing, and it's just kind of part of the process. As far as financial books, I'm a big Tony Robbins fan, so I like a lot of his financial stuff on investing and. I can't think of the word, but basically compound interest and things like that. So, I don't think there's a book. I mean, I've read so many of them. I've read The Millionaire Next Door, which is a great book. Talks about how to save money and how to not be living under your means.
Mm-hmm.
Often, I know people who live in a crappy little apartment but drive a 7 Series BMW, right? Because they want the facade of success, but they're not really successful. That's living above your means, and so, and that's how I was. And I think too many people these days are trying to keep up with the Joneses. Yeah. You see a picture of somebody's house on Facebook or the car, and you're like, oh, I want some of that. I'm going to get a nice car. I think at the end of the day, man, everybody's different. Obviously, I'm not here to tell you how you should live. But I mean, I think peace of mind, I think self-fulfillment is incredibly important to me. And just, what makes you happy, man? I love hanging out with my kid. I love hanging out with my girlfriend. I love to travel, as you know. I love going to practice these days because I do it because I love it, not because I need it. I don't need the money anymore. I like the money, but I don't need to be there.
Yeah.
But I love it. And because of my passion to love it, the money almost is magnetized to you.
Yeah.
It's hard because when you need the money, it's very repelling. It's very true.
Yeah,
it's very true.
Yeah.
And when you're financially free, money seems to come to you. You don't repel it. But it's tough. It's Larry Markson, again, one of my mentors in the Master Circle. He used to always tell that. It's like money will come to you if you don't if you stop concentrating on it. But again, it's hard not to concentrate on it when you don't have the money in the bank to pay the next rent payment.
Yeah, Jim Rohn spoke on that. He said money doesn't, or success doesn't come to those, or money doesn't come to those who need. It comes to those who deserve.
Right.
And so if you put in the time, you put in the effort, you're providing a valuable service to enough people.
Right.
That's when it comes. So
Yeah.
Last couple things. I really want to wrap up.
Sure.
We're already kind of pushing it a bit. There's a term we like to refer to as an elevator speech.
Right.
You bump into somebody in the grocery store. You have 30 seconds with them. Dr. Stan, I've never been to a chiropractor. What's chiropractic?
Wow, that's a good one. Chiropractic to me is pretty simple, to be honest with you. Chiropractic, in a nutshell, is putting the body back into its proper alignment for optimal function. I mean, that's literally what it is.
Okay.
We concentrate on the spine, but making sure the spine is in its best possible alignment to allow the body to work at its best. So I will use that term we talked about earlier in the elevator, if you will, when I say, do you think your body works better or worse when it's out of its proper alignment?
Yeah.
Well, it works worse. Well, great. That's what I do. I put you back in place.
Okay.
Well, what does that mean? Well, we'll talk about the details of that, but it's literally that simple.
So it can lead to a conversation later on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, my job is to put the body back into the way that your creator designed it, as close as possible, because I know that structure determines function.
Okay.
So if you lose your proper structure, then you will lose your proper function. We know that if we help you regain proper structure, proper function returns as well.
Follow.
Yeah.
Okay. Last couple things. Clinically speaking, just to give people a snapshot inside your centers, what volume are you most comfortable at? Like your altitude, your cruising speed?
Yeah.
Clinically speaking,
Yeah.
patients, just give people a visual.
I mean, I think that I hear you. I think that's a very subjective question, to be honest with you, Steve,
Yeah.
because there's plenty of people who are completely satisfied at 10 or 15 people a day.
Yeah.
There's certain people who I know who are seeing literally a couple hundred people a day here in California. I don't think that, for me, that's not really the case.
Yeah.
I would be very happy at about 50 people a day.
Yeah.
50 people a day, I think, gives you enough time to spend the time that you need, the quality that you need, and yet not overwhelm yourself. I'm 43 years old. I'd like to be able to go and continue to play with my kid, and I don't want to have bad shoulders and bad ankles and bad wrists from it. So to me, high volume is not necessarily my goal.
Sure. Yeah.
I heard a speaker last night at CORE who basically said, listen, if you affect one person, if you change the life of one person, you had a purpose.
Yeah.
And so, I don't need to change 200 people a day.
Yeah.
And then nothing against those who are seeing that kind of volume.
Sure.
I think that's a very subjective question. I think it depends on what you want to do.
The only reason I ask is because there are tens of thousands of chiropractors who are probably thinking about that a lot, necessarily judging others, but for themselves, they're trying to find out, where do I fall on this spectrum?
Right.
I actually know chiropractors who book personally 30 minutes per patient. And I know there are more that book an hour or more, but I know personally some that book 30 minutes per patient, and then others that spend on an average of 1 minute and 30 seconds, and everywhere in between. So that's more. I'm just kind of.
So I mean, you have to just kind of do the math at that point. If you're booking every 30 minutes and you're working, let's say, an 8-hour day.
Yeah.
That just means you can only see a total of 16 people on that day. Now, you better be charging more than $20, $30, $40 a visit, because you're not going to survive very long that way. Now, I know some docs who do some neuroemotional technique that takes some time. They charge about $175, and they're using about 20 to 35 minutes per person. Now, at that point, 16 people at $175 is a relatively nice day. So it just depends on how much you want to charge, what you feel comfortable wise, how many people do you want to see a day, and do the reverse math on it. Here's what I want to be able to make per day, per week, per month. Here's how many patients I want to see. Therefore, this is how much I need to charge.
Sure.
Or variables in that way. And I think that's probably the reverse engineering is probably the way you need to take a look and say, what do I need to make to have a happy life wherever it is I'm living? I know guys that live in a place where the rent is, $300 a month, and to live in North Carolina in certain places, takes them a total of $1,500, and they can live like a king. $1,500 here doesn't pay for a parking spot. So you really need to kind of understand what your lifestyle needs to be, or that you want to be at, and then reverse engineer it as to what you want to see and the volume you need to see.
Okay. Doc, any last minute, share with us some last minute thoughts, maybe advice, ideas, encouragement. What comes to mind when you think of tens of thousands of chiropractors out there?
Yeah.
What would you share as far as ideas, encouragement, thoughts for other chiropractors that might be listening to this?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think we have one of the greatest professions. I really do. There's some negative connotations out there. I think it's gotten better personally, at least in California it has. I think people are a little bit more open to it. I think people are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they're also getting very sick and tired of taking pills.
Yeah.
So people are definitely looking at options. I say be genuine, be honest. Don't be afraid to tell them what you think, because people are open to new ideas. You don't feel like you have to tell them what they need to hear, or you don't want to tell them what they want to hear. I think you should tell them what they need to hear, and sometimes that's a real wake up call for them. So I love my profession, and I encourage, and it saddens me to see that so many people are not thriving.
Yeah.
And I know, like I said, I was one of them. I would say persevere. Push through, continue. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to come in and shadow a doc that you respect. Don't be afraid to partner up with the right like-minded people to grow a bigger vision. And that's probably about it. I mean, it's just keep on keeping on, baby.
Doc, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us. You have possibly the greatest integrity of the chiropractors and that I've met, and people in my life that I've met, and I admire you for your success. I admire you for your confidence. I see what you're doing in the community, and just really appreciate you. So thank you for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, Doc. Hello, and welcome back to the post show for episode 10 of iHeart Chiropractic. First of all, I'd like to extend an extra special big thank you to each of you for stopping by, for checking out our episode, for downloading, streaming, and viewing. And also thanks to Dr. Shapiro for coming by, sharing some ideas, information that'll help us up-level our lives and our practices. Please don't forget to come back again for episode 11, 12, and our other future episodes. We have some great content and programming and information to bring to you in our future episodes. So thank you again for being here. I can't wait to see each of you again. Until I do, don't forget to adjust, and I'll see you at the next episode. Take care. All information contained in this video blog, audio podcast episode, and on the iHeart Chiropractic website is intended to provide a fun and interactive learning experience. It is not intended to serve as advice with regard to any specific health condition that you may have, but is intended for general health and wellness educational purposes only. This is not a substitute for seeking appropriate care by a doctor of chiropractic or qualified healthcare professional of your choice with respect to a specific condition that you may have. As a recipient of the information from this podcast episode or the iHeart Chiropractic website, you are not establishing a doctor-patient relationship with any chiropractor or physician. There is no replacement for individualized care and advice from your personal chiropractor or qualified healthcare professional of your choice.